Hi everybody, this is Jackson with the Austin Days, Fun Fest 2008, and I'm here with Karl, bass player for All and the Descendents. And Karl, have you played in Austin a lot? What do you think of the town?
I always liked it here a lot. I mean, Descendents and All came here as frequently as we could manage back when, and that was pretty frequently. We got a lot of friends here, you know.
Now, kind of give us, how'd you get started in music, and then how did you get together with the guys you're playing with now?
Well, I mean, Stefan, my guitar player, and I were in junior high, and he had a band who needed lyrics, and he liked what I had in English class. That's how we became friends. Then he and I had a band in Salt Lake City, Utah. Then he and I joined up with Billy and Milo and kept the Descendants going, and then we changed the name to All. And so me and Stefan have been around forever. Bill Stevenson's lineage goes back about that far with Milo. You know, he started Descendants in '79 and went on to play on some of the best Black Flag records, you know, and then re-upped the Descendants. And he's been working his ass off ever since. And then Scott, our singer, he sang for Tony Lombardo, the original Descendant bass player's band, which is how he ended up singing for us when our singer Dave Smalley left. It's a very incestuous, interwoven family tree thing.
And it appears to be a happy family.
Yeah, well, you know, it's up and down, right? Like any family.
So, you know, take us like the early road days with the Descendants. What were those like?
Well, the two biggest changes in touring from then till now that I can think of off the top of my head are the cell phone and the internet. Because back when, if you were going to be late for the gig, it meant you'd have to pull over the van, which meant it was going to take at least 20 minutes for everyone who woke up to pile out of the van and get whatever they were getting in the mini mart or smoke a cigarette or whatever they were going to do. It was a full 20-minute ordeal just to let the promoter know you were late, and you were already late. Now you just call them. You know, OnStar, navigation, it's great, because you used to call the promoter, and he was usually, you know, some well-intended 17-year-old who was like, yeah, you know, you just turn left at the block where the 7-Eleven is, and, you know, they give you very vague instructions. Now you at least know where you're going. You have communications.
Okay, so what are you doing now? Is this all going to record some new stuff? Are they going to tour? Are the Descendants going to record and tour? What's the situation?
I'm glad you brought that up, because, like, I mean, I've been feeling a little bit like a horror, because we've done these 4 shows now with Scott, and I'm kind of like, I feel it's not the main thing I'm interested in music, which is I like working with people and coming up with material and recording and touring. This is weird because they've been weird one-off shows, and I'm hoping these one-off shows will lead to that place where we're recording and making records. But you'd have to ask the other guys too. I mean, they're the guys. I'm the only guy who doesn't have children and a home life, so it's very easy for me to say this. You know, I hope they'll want to do it.
So what have you been up to personally in the meantime when you're not playing?
Okay. Well, for a while I was playing bass with a band called All Systems Go. And then Bill and I did an album with the Lemonheads in there. And then after that, I was playing bass with Gogol Bordello for a summer. Then I have a group that does soul music called The Vexations that I run, and another group called Underminer that does rock and roll. And I was out for a month with the Real Mackenzies in September. I just kind of take gigs if they're interesting, you know. I mean, the Gogols I don't need to excuse to anyone. They're just an interesting band. And the Mackenzies, if you don't know about them, it's 400-year-old Scottish music put to rock, and I love bagpipes, so.
It's all about the bagpipes, huh?
Yeah. Well, any instrument that is, I mean, I've been doing punk rock for almost 30 years now, one way or the other, so it's kind of like any instrument that's kind of outside of that basic rock anatomy of bass guitar and drums is interesting to me.
Now let's talk a little bit about, you know, you had the Descendants, then Milo left for college, then you started All. What was that transition like?
Well, technically Milo left for grad school when we changed the name to All. And it was as simple as we knew it was going to happen, we planned it out, and, you know, Dave flew in to LA, Dave Smalley flew into LA about 2 days after Milo Milo's last gig with us. So it was a very steady conversion thing. And then when Dave wanted to leave, Scott lived next door to us, so that was fairly easy, you know. It's all been fairly organic, as weird as it sounds. It's never been like, you know, mastermind, I know, let's, you know, do auditions or whatever. We never did that. It's just friends of ours.
Did you find the fans change? Did you have the same fans? Are there people that just show up for All, or?
There are fans of every singer we've ever had, and a lot of them are militant and defiantly don't like any of the other ones. There are fans of given eras of our music that, you know, I mean, but you can't account for that as the musician. You just kind of make music, you know.
Now, what's important to you guys? What's the most important thing to you guys as you make music?
I don't know, because there's a bunch of angles. I mean, songwriting is really therapeutic, and I think all of us, to a greater or lesser degree, the whole Descendent All vibe is definitely nerd. And when you're a nerd, one of the hallmarks of it is having difficulty expressing yourself to people, and I think music was a way of letting us say things that we weren't comfortable saying to people just in conversation, or we had no way to say. So there's that. There's the catharsis of lyric. Music is a cool, emotional, intellectual pursuit, you know, to create feelings in other people, and it's an endless fascination. I mean, those are the main motivations, I guess. And, oh yeah, and to rock out and have a great time, you know.
Of course. Do you guys write collectively as a group? Did that change from the Descendents to All?
It's kind of every which way. It kind of always has been. It's like everyone in Descendents always wrote songs, each individual and collectively. Everyone in All always wrote songs individually and collectively. It's more of an advantage. I feel really bad for guys like Paul Westerberg who have to write a whole album by themselves.
Do you guys cut the material live in the studio, or did you do overdubs? How did you do some of those records?
All over the map. I mean, Bill we started a studio called the Blasting Room in Fort Collins, Colorado, and Bill is the guy who runs it, and he's putting to use right now with other records about 20 years of decisions and mistakes on our records. Any process you can think of for recording, we used at one point or another. But it worked out okay, because, I mean, Rise Against record was done at the Blasting Room. The last 3 records were done at the Blasting Room. You know, Propagandi's last 2 were done at the Blasting Room, and I love the work they do. And Bill wouldn't be nearly as good as he is if he hadn't experimented quite a bit back when.
Okay, so